Hey everyone, this is Megan
and Darla. We are your hosts of the Enlighten Benefits podcast.
Our goal is to help you understand all things insurance. In each episode, we will tackle the confusing topics and terminology as it relates to insurance.
We want to create confidence over confusion and make insurance suck less.
We hope you enjoy our show. So let's start today with an interesting text that I got, if that's okay.
Love to hear your text.
Okay. This isn't one of those texts that you delete real quick. It was actually a text from a realtor who wanted life insurance.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, how often do you get a text from somebody that it just hits them someday that they need life insurance?
I know. I know. Yeah, he was telling me that he's 62 years old, 63, something like that, and that his term policy was about to expire. So he was just wanting to know, if I had any suggestions, if I thought he should extend that policy, or if there was another, term policy that I would suggest. So I just thought it was interesting because you and I've talked about this before, that we don't get that many calls about people wanting life insurance. And then when we do present it to them, it's one of those things that just gets pushed on the back burner. I don't think people really want to talk about it too much.
No, I mean, it's kind of a Debbie Downer conversation. I've literally had clients that, I feel like as agents, it's almost our due diligence, if you will, to bring it up and prepare people for things. But absolutely, I've had some people that have literally stopped me in my tracks and said, I'm not talking about it.
I get that a lot, especially if I don't get it as much whenever I ask people questions about life insurance for themselves, but I certainly get that question if I ever bring up riders as they result to their children. Like if you want to put, a $10,000 policy on your kids. And as a mom, I can totally understand why.
Yeah. You can't even, those thoughts won't even go into your brain.
Right.
And if you try to put it in your brain, you're going to push it out because you don't ever want to go there. Right. But I think you will agree with me in 2022, what we have seen. My husband brought up the other day, he said, I'm just going to pull up CNN right now, and I promise you there has been 3 mass shootings over the weekend. He goes, you want to bet? And he did. He pulled it up, and there were not necessarily mass shootings, but it's like somebody had drove a tractor trailer through a crowd that was gathering. And he literally did find 3 instances of mass deaths. Mm-hmm. That were just people that were at concerts. They were at a parade. They were, and I always hate, this is a topic that nobody wants to talk about, but all the school shootings. Then you have to turn around and you see the GoFundMe pages on Facebook. Funerals are $10,000 to $15,000
at minimum.
At minimum, yeah. So sad and so horrible. But like I said, I think we need to be realists. We need to really think about it. But I will tell you one way that I think is another good way to talk about it without going into mass shootings and different things like that. It's a good idea to have policies on your kids. I know that you used to see commercials for the Gerber Baby Life.
I do remember those.
I always tell everybody, we're also in a day and age where everybody is developing illnesses. You see a lot of, I've heard 9 out of 10 children are on antidepressants, panic attacks, all of these things that people don't realize could make you uninsurable, right? So we talk about that cheesy line of insurability, and one day you can answer questions and the next day you can't. And I always say, you know what? If you take out a policy on your child while they're young and healthy, if anything, God forbid, health-wise happens to them when they're in their 30s and 40s, they've always got a burial policy. So you're not looking at it as it's going to pay off to you, the parent,
Right.
but it could pay off to their spouse 50 years later.
Right.
And some of those you can even get that build cash. So you're almost creating a gift for your child, if you will. If they are healthy, then maybe whenever they're 30 or 40, they might cash that in and use it for a down payment on a house, and then take out a term policy or something.
You've brought up so many points that I want to hit on as we're talking about this, but just real quickly to kind of backtrack, I feel like I started getting more questions about life insurance since COVID. I think that COVID has really brought about, for a lot of people, it's like, man, like you said, you can be completely healthy, life can be going great, and then all of a sudden you're either not with us any longer or you're uninsurable. And you can really speak to that topic. We'll tell the audience a little bit, and you can tell your story. I'm not going to steal that, or if you don't want to, but Darla and I were wanting to get kind of a key man group, and I'd like to talk about that as well. We were wanting to get key man life insurance just in case something happened to one of us, then we had the finances to sustain the business. And little did I know, Darla was uninsurable.
Yeah, it's
neither did she.
Neither did I. It is one of those things that you never think about. I mean, you think, I don't really need life insurance right now. I mean, I'm in my 40s, 45. Nothing's gonna happen. I mean, I'm totally healthy, and yes, that was my scenario. Just to tell you, my husband and I went to the Home and Garden show. I got a $79 special to do a chest and lung x-ray body scan, because insurance won't pay for it if you're healthy. So we just paid cash. We did our body scan, and it showed up blockages in my heart. I am healthy. I am not overweight. I never took any medications. I've been an athlete all my life, and ended up, I have genetic heart disease. So there's not anything that I could do to prevent my body from building cholesterol. So let's just say that within that $79 special, within about a month, I was laying on the operating table and had 5 bypasses and open heart surgery. So you're correct. I mean, I am uninsurable. So for me to get life insurance, one day I could get $3 million, and today I can't get anything.
Right.
So
yeah, I think that you just never know. And you had no idea. That's the thing, is you had no idea that anything was going on with your heart. I mean, I'm so thankful that you found that and you were able to take care of it and take the proper steps. And I know it was a long recovery for you, but my goodness, you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know.
I now know, I mean, when they say genetic heart disease is the silent killer, right. That is true, because so many people would come up to me and say, wow, 5 bypasses, you must feel amazing.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't feel any different. I feel exactly like I did. So, it really opened my eyes. I didn't even really know about genetic heart disease, didn't even know what it was, didn't take time to think about it. Probably should have thought about it in my 20s and 30s and got on cholesterol medicine, and then I would have avoided, being on the table. But, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you are just invincible.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and if you're not feeling bad, what would have ever caused you to go to the doctor and to have those tests run? Especially, like you said, you were an athlete, everything was going great. You had had no reason to go to the doctor and ask those questions.
Absolutely.
So going back to this realtor, a lot of times we will have group life insurance as it relates to someone's job. But this group, I mean, he's a realtor, he's independent, so he doesn't have group life insurance as an option. But I always recommend, even if an employee, if they have life insurance, and I'd like to hear your side of things too, kind of how you handle your conversations with clients. But a lot of times the employee will have an opportunity to buy into $100,000 group life insurance. I always recommend that they have an individual policy as well. Do you do that, or I say I want you to diversify your portfolio. Don't put all your eggs in this one basket, just because we never know. Obviously, you would love to be at this company forever, but that might not be the case. You may leave after 2 years. So I always encourage people to diversify and have a policy that they own that nobody can take away from them. Do you do the same, or do you encourage people to just do one or the other?
No, I agree. And there are a lot of people that don't understand what group life insurance is.
Right.
So a good point to make here would be, if you work for a company and they, as a benefit, I think it's great. They give you a $25,000 policy. And then if they give you if they pay for the first $25,000, which is amazing to have a company that would do that. And then probably 95% of the time, they're going to give you the ability to buy up on that. Mm-hmm. So that means on your dime, you could buy maybe, let's just say another 150. Mm-hmm. I myself would jump on that all day, because it will be what we call guaranteed issue.
Right. So, usually you don't have to answer any medical questions.
Correct.
Because it's on a group chassis. It's on a group platform. Yeah.
Correct.
And that's the same thing I do too. I tell people, definitely, if you have the opportunity to buy up, because it's pennies on the dollar, it is. I find, not always, but I find that it's usually a very cheap rate. So,
yes,
for $5 or $10 out of your paycheck, you can usually get that extra 100,000, or depends on your age, but
right. Yeah. You just, void yourself of having one Starbucks a month, and you've paid for it.
That would be hard for you, but
well, okay, don't go there. But the other thing is that I have people, whenever they say, well, I have insurance through my work, but then they'll say, but I don't have a policy. I never got
right.
I never got a policy in the mail. And, you have to explain to them, you don't own it. It's called group life insurance because it belongs to the company. It doesn't mean you have to make the company the beneficiary. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to be working there in order to have it payroll deducted. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to get, that would be a good way to tell if you're asking yourself, do I have group or do I have individual? If you got a policy in the mail, then you own it. But the other thing about buying up on the life insurance, I think it's a good time to say that if you did, like myself, if I took out $150,000, and it was group and the company owned it, most companies, I can't think of really any that don't, will give you a portability option. So they'll say, okay, you can take this policy with you. It is portable, but we're not going to give you that group rate, right? So now what we're going to do, employee, is we're going to say, how old are you? We're going to take the cost per thousand, and then your rate may go from payroll deductive, like you said, $5 or $6 a month to like $45 or $50 a month. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about it is you still don't have to answer medical questions. You have locked that amount in, if you will, and it turns over to an individual policy without having to qualify for it.
As all of the HR directors that we work with, I don't find that that's very common to offer people the opportunity to, and I'm not putting this on the HR director, I just don't think that as consumers that we're educated enough in insurance to say, hey, I would like to convert that. That's on us to have to, to ask those questions. So if we can give one piece of consumer advice today, I think that's a great takeaway. If you know you couldn't get an individual policy, definitely touch base with the carrier, the group life carrier, to find out if that's portable and what you need to do to start that portability. Because you bring up a great point that